Welcome to TMI with Teryl and Martha. I'm Martha Zoller.
I'm Teryl Worcester.
And we are on a new journey that we want to take you on of a podcast about wellness, all the important things that we're talking about. And Teryl and I want to introduce ourselves to you first and kind of talk about how we got together.
I think it's a pretty interesting journey, you and I, don't you?
I do. And I think that it's somebody we've known each other, I think about 20 years now.
Easy 20 years.
Yes. And so Teryl opened up a spa called the Spa on Green Street in Gainesville. And of course, I was always looking for a place to go like that. And it was in the old Dunlap house in Gainesville. Those of you that know, we're from Gainesville, Georgia, and they have this history in the Dunlap house, and the spa took that over. And so I started going there and have been going there on and off, more on than off for 20 years.
Since we opened.
That's right. That's right. And I've been through a lot of journeys health-wise, which we'll talk about in just a minute. But this is so important, especially when you get to be a woman of a certain age a woman of any age, to talk about these things that are important to us.
Yeah, the idea for the podcast started when my manager, Teryl Lamkin, and I were discussing how to get information out to people about the best choices and options in holistic healthcare. There's so many of them that it became really hard to weed yourself through all the options and obstacles and what do I do, what do I not do? So we had an idea to start a podcast, and I have been talking my whole life. So part of that process is why not talk to a larger audience? There's been so many times you and I even have been in conversation, just sitting together, talking, and I think, oh my God, we need to get that on film. And here we are. We're finally getting to do that. And so this is a dream of mine. And I had called up Martha because of her absolute beautiful nature. Where I'm concerned, she's always been supportive of me. So anytime I needed to promote our children's books, Milton's Ears and June Makes His Bed, I would call Martha and I would ask her if I could be on her radio show.
And so I'm a talker my whole life too. From the time I was a child, my parents said that I talked all the time, except when the commercials came on. And it's kind of what I do now. I'm a radio talk show host. I typically do political talk. But what I've learned over the years is how you build an audience is you don't just talk to about politics. Okay. You talk about what's happening in your life. You weave in the conversation. You make it a conversation. So being able to do that, brought Teryl and I together, and she was a great option to weave in and out of the program from time to time to make it more interesting for what people were going through. But 5 years ago, I got very sick at the height of COVID. And it wasn't COVID, but it was something called a pneumonic effusion. Y'all can look it up, okay? But I was having a lot of trouble breathing. I had a lung infection. I had to have some surgery. It was one of those things where my husband, who's a physician, had called the kids in because he thought what was going to happen in the next 48 hours could determine if I was going to make it or not. And I got through it. I had the surgery I needed. I had antibiotics for about 6 weeks. And during that process, my sweet husband came up to me and said, your weight did not cause this problem, but it made it harder for you to recover. And that was a red light moment for me where I said, I need to take better care of myself, because prior to that, all of my quote numbers, in the medical, they take your blood, were all good except my weight. But I was starting to see some problems with being pre-diabetic and things like that. And so I took it very seriously. And over the last 4 years, I've lost a substantial amount of weight.
Yes,
I've gotten back on track. I've kept the weight off, which I've never been able to do before. And it's because of making some real changes in things like nutrition and exercise and that sort of thing. And so I was in a place in my life where I could really hear you, Teryl, for sure. It's not that we didn't talk about these things, we did. But this change in me made me want to live a really long time because I've had a lot of loss in my family. I've had a lot of loss in my life, which we'll talk about over the times that we're going to be together. But I wanted to live and I wanted to be as healthy as I could. And so that's what brought me here.
Well, she just said very specifically for you guys why I do what I do. I started 30 years ago as a personal trainer. I could have gone on further and done more, but I realized that I could do what I wanted to do as a personal trainer, but as a physical therapist or an exercise science, even a surgeon, I would have to follow rules and guidelines based on insurance companies, etc. And I felt that the body, even then, was a holistic machine and it needed to be dealt with that way. So I went into personal training, loved it, and kept myself in the best shape possible. And I moved here to Florida when we opened the spa, from Florida when we opened the spa in 2004, and became a personal trainer here as well. So I didn't get to train Martha one on one, but I would have kicked your butt had I trained you. But anyway, it was a wonderful journey, and I've been managing the spa for 20 years, so I've seen lives change over and over again, which also has sparked the interest in me to do the podcast, especially with Martha. Between the two of us, we'll be having all kinds of conversations regarding health, wellness, holistic health care, allopathic health care. Her husband's a doctor, so she's got some good information for us as well. But I think it's important for everybody, for you guys to understand your options, to know more about what kind of things are out there for you. We have people that work for me at the spa that had no idea what Reiki was, for example. So these are things that are important for you to know. And, you having your own personal health crisis. I had a daughter that was diagnosed with leukemia at 18 in 2011. And it gave me also a bigger push to do what we're doing because at that time it was a tragic situation, very dangerous. She had APML, which was a very rare form of leukemia. So within 24 hours of her being diagnosed, she had a stroke. And at that point, she literally died in front of me. I was told by her oncologist that she was the healthiest sick child they had ever met. And had she not been that healthy walking in the door with that diagnosis, she absolutely would not have made it. So at that point, I realized that I do need to help people understand the importance and the responsibility that we all have to day to day take the best care possible of ourselves. But you can't do that if you don't have the information. It's real hard to figure it all out. So, Martha and I, because of our duo selves and our care for each other and our same concerns for you guys, we have agreed to do this. And we're so excited because we're going to have all kinds of amazing conversations. We'll laugh. We may even cry a little. I hope not, but it could happen.
Oh, it'll happen with me.
It will happen. We're going to be talking about very important things, and we're going to lift your spirits, give you ideas, and we'll bring real experts on the show with us to talk to you about how to take care of yourself. Doesn't that sound amazing? I can't believe this is actually happening, and I can't believe you're sitting here across from me.
Well, and of course, you're listening to TMI with Teryl and Martha, and we're starting on this journey together. And I think what's so important is Teryl came to me and kind of pitched this idea and said, could I get some advice on it? And I immediately thought, you know what? I've got this radio expertise, which isn't exactly this world, but pretty close to it. I've got this radio expertise, and I really wanted to get not out of politics. I don't think I'll ever be out of politics, but get out into a different part of the world and talk about things a little bit differently, because I don't mind saying I'm 65 years old and I want to live a long time. And we're living in America right now, right, wrong, or indifferent, where life expectancies are going down. People are getting sicker with things we haven't seen for a long time. And even though I don't have all the answers to that, I do know that we've got to be healthier to be able to get through this journey.
That's right.
And we've got to do the best we can with this temple that is our body and be able to take care of it. And I don't think you have to be a tree hugger to do that. I don't think you ought to be a reasonable person that wants to be as healthy as you can. I've got 4 children and 6 grandchildren. I want to be as healthy as I can and look as good as I can and feel as good as I can for as long as I have left.
That's the key, Martha, is optimal living, right? There's a lot of people that are living, but are they living at their optimal level? They might say they are, but I bet you they don't know that they're not.
I think you're right.
So it's pretty interesting to find out when you start getting massages, taking care of yourself, self-care, rituals that you do to take care of yourself, how they can take you to another level. So that when someone asks you, how are you doing today? You can actually look around and say, wow, I'm doing a lot better.
Well, and I think too that when you get to be a person that watches podcasts or listens to podcasts, you get a lot of advertisements. And if you're a woman of a certain age, you get a lot of ones about wellness. Okay. And weaving through what's real and what's not real in that world is really important because there aren't the kind of restrictions in a lot of ways over these kinds of claims that people make. So that's why you need people that you trust, trusted advisors, people that can get the information out and can help you sort through. Or else you could spend all your time just kind of wading through all
And
of these
money.
questions and money. That's why it's such a big business.
Yes, we also, as a family, own a natural remedy line that's been around for about 30 years. And so this company has to go through some very rigorous testing. I know the quality of our products, and we'll talk more about those as well. But I know what it takes to really test the products, to really put them through the GMP, testing standards and guidelines, and to follow a lot of the FDA guidelines when it comes to producing these products. Not everybody goes through the financial or the physical efforts to do those things. So I do recommend that you listen to our conversations, take into consideration some of our journey and some of our information that we're giving you, and do your homework. We're not experts in these fields. We're not trying to tell you exactly what to do. We're your friends, and we're friends with each other. And so we're just hoping that you understand that we are here for entertainment purposes, but we're also here to educate you and to tell you true stories relative to what we've gone through and who we feel can help us along in the process. And those people are going to come sit with us and talk to everybody, and we're going to have questions for them. And you can write into our podcast and ask your own questions if you have some. This is a journey for all of us. It's not just for Martha and I, but we're certainly glad we're doing this together.
And as we take you through this, we look forward to kind of developing this and not only having the ideas we've thought up, but the ideas that you want to hear about. And
Absolutely.
I think that this journey is going to be important as we go through, and regardless of your age. I mean, Teryl and I have lived a little, but she's a lot younger than me, by the way, but she have lived a little. But it's really important that we bring this all together.
I agree 100%. And I'm not that much younger than you, but
It's always good to underpredict people's ages.
I love it. But part of being alive and being happy is feeling youthful. So we really, really, really can't stress enough. Tell your friends, tell them all about TMI with Teryl and Martha. We are going to make it so much fun for you to learn how to be the healthiest version of you can be. I'll give some exercise tips because that's what I do. I will give you information about the spa on Green Street, but any spa that you may choose to go to wherever you live. Make a spa lifestyle workout for yourself. You're going to see some differences. And Martha and I are going to get back with you every week, right?
Right.
And we're going to bring you new information and topics I know you're going to love.
And we'll see you next time.
Tune in next week for TMI with Teryl and Martha, because your wellness deserves a little oversharing.